are broken. Hearts are heavy, God. Father God, for confusion is upon our minds. God, we ask that you show up in the mighty name of Jesus.
So broken, I'm so lost. A beautiful soul gone. Never seen a frown on her face, always smiling. I always called her light bright.
A beautiful young man has to go on without his parents. I'm shattered right now. I don't know what to do. I lost my beautiful angel.
On February 5th, 2022, a local famous rapper in Brown Deer, Wisconsin went live on Facebook, just moments into opening fire and ending the life of his child's mother outside his apartment.
This is gonna be the last day everybody hear from me, bro. This is gonna be the last day y'all hear from me, bro. I'm sorry. There's just been too much going on. She did. Police right there. Somebody come get my son first! This not finna end well for nobody, cuz. Yeah, so I've been dealing with a lot, but trying to... Ain't nothing finna justify my actions, bro. I've been dealing with a lot. I just need somebody to get my son. Dog. Hey! Hey! I'm in apartment 214. I'm finna kill myself. Just come get my son.
And the woman he killed was the 23-year-old Ariona Nicole Reed. Her body was found near the entrance of Park Plaza Apartments at 8900 North Park Plaza Court, while their 2-year-old son was still inside the unit, caught in the middle of the chaos. Just hours before the shooting, Ariona Nicole Reed had gone there to drop off her son for a routine custody visit. It was something she had done many times before, but something went wrong that morning. The man behind the camera, Larvell Huddleston, wasn't just a father. He was spiraling, and by the time police arrived, 3 people were dead, 1 was seriously hurt, and a live stream had captured the final moments of a horrifying breakdown. But as police dug deeper, they uncovered chilling truths that no one could have seen coming. This is the life and death of Ariona Nicole Reed. This story takes us to Brown Deer, a small village in Milwaukee County, Wisconsin. It is part of the larger Milwaukee metro area, known for its suburban feel, good schools, and quiet parks. For many families, it offers the pace of everyday life: commutes to work, children playing outside, and neighbors greeting each other in passing. Yet not all of Brown Deer's statistics are as calm. The village has faced crime at levels higher than the national average, with violent crime reported at rates roughly 15 to 20% above what most U.S. communities experience. And it was within this setting, on an otherwise ordinary morning, that tragedy to Ariona struck, shattering the routine and leaving residents and officers with a story they would never forget. Ariona Nicole Reed was born on April 8, 1998, to her parents Aaron and Tracy Reed in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The youngest in the family, she grew up under the watchful eyes of her older siblings, Trinika and Aaron Jr., and later became a loving aunt to Amar James. Her grandparents, May Ada Harris, Roy Peterson, and Claudia Randolph, were also steady influences, shaping her with values of love, faith, and resilience. For those who knew her, she was radiant and spirited, someone whose smile could brighten the darkest day and whose charisma made her unforgettable.
Lost a star, a shining star, a precious rare diamond. She was everything to us.
She was the life of the family. Anytime we came together, we always looked for my little sister to keep the joy going on around.
From an early age, she showed determination and a caring heart. Education became a central part of her life, leading her to Bryant and Stratton College, where she pursued her dream of becoming a registered nurse. Nursing, to her, was more than a career. It was a calling. To support herself while studying, she worked as a medical assistant, gaining experience in healthcare even as she juggled academic demands. Friends and classmates admired her persistence, remembering her as someone who remained focused despite the challenges of balancing school, work, and family responsibilities. Every step she took reflected her desire to create a stable future, not only for herself, but for those she loved. Even while building her path in medicine, Ariona's creativity found other outlets. She launched a small design and vending machine business, showing her entrepreneurial spirit. Online, she shared playful dances and scrapbooking projects on TikTok, letting her lighthearted side shine through. Her balance of professional ambition and personal creativity painted the picture of a young woman determined to live fully. It was during these years of ambition and exploration that she met Larvell T. Huddleston. At first, their relationship seemed like the start of something hopeful.
Who lies more? Who takes care of the other when drunk? Who has better hygiene?
Yeah.
Who calls or texts more?
Huddleston carried himself with respect and charm, and even won the approval of her father, Aaron Reed, who once welcomed him into Bible study and described him as a perfect gentleman. The family saw him as someone who could be trusted, and in those early days, the relationship appeared strong. Because behind Huddleston's charming facade was a dark history that would foreshadow the tragedy that would take Ariona's life. Huddleston had a history of run-ins with the law. By his mid-20s, he had become entangled in the legal system, facing a misdemeanor case for carrying a concealed weapon. The trial, filed in 2020, had been delayed repeatedly due to the pandemic, leaving the matter unresolved but hanging over him as a source of pressure. But the red flags does not end there. At the same time, Huddleston shared fragments of his struggles on social media. Posts hinted at paranoia, distrust, and battles with PTSD. In his own words, he admitted he was not normal, shaped by an environment that left him wary and volatile. These glimpses, while troubling, did not translate into obvious danger for those closest to Ariona. Her father, for instance, remained convinced that Huddleston was respectful and kind, unaware of the instability building beneath the surface. To outsiders, his words online might have seemed like venting, or the all-too-common reflections of someone under stress. Yet in hindsight, they read as warning signs, foreshadowing the unraveling that would soon erupt. The mix of unresolved legal troubles, untreated mental health challenges, and growing inner turmoil created a fragile balance. What looked ordinary at the time would later be recognized as red flags missed or overlooked. And so, through everything, Ariona stayed with Huddleston. At first, their relationship looked steady and full of promise. She held on to that hope, never seeing the danger hiding beneath the surface. As their bond grew, they welcomed their son, Egypt, and this chapter of Ariona's life was something she embraced wholeheartedly. For Ariona, motherhood became her greatest joy. She loved celebrating milestones and enjoying the little everyday moments of raising a child. Egypt was her everything, the heartbeat of her days and the reason she worked so tirelessly to build a better life. But even as she poured her love into her child, shadows began to creep into the relationship. Huddleston's struggles grew harder to ignore, and whispers of paranoia and jealousy, especially his suspicion that Ariona might be unfaithful, started to surface. These suspicions were never confirmed, but the damage was done. What had once felt secure was now strained. Small disagreements that used to fade quickly began to last for hours, each word leaving sharper wounds than the one before. Their once happy home turned into a place of constant tension, with trust slowly slipping away. Friends noticed the distance, and even family sensed that something was breaking apart. The cracks in their bond grew too wide to ignore, and with each argument, the path forward became harder to see. In the end, separation was no longer just an option. It was the only choice left for them both. At first glance, life after the breakup seemed steady. They shared custody of Egypt, and Ariona worked tirelessly to make sure her son still had both parents in his life. She managed the schedules, handled the drop-offs, and reassured Egypt that he was loved no matter what. To friends and family, it looked like they had created a healthy balance, cooperating for the sake of their child. They admired how she tried to keep the peace and protect her son's happiness, even when it meant putting her own feelings aside. But beneath that calm picture, trouble never went away. Huddleston's paranoia clung to him. It surfaced during visits, when simple disagreements exploded into heated arguments. Even routine custody exchanges carried tension, each one piling more weight onto an already fragile peace. The surface looked ordinary, but underneath, the foundation was breaking apart. Those hidden cracks kept spreading, and they were leading towards something darker. A path that would soon push both Ariona and her family into a tragedy no one could stop. On the cold morning of February 5th, 2022, the quiet suburb of Brown Deer, Wisconsin was shattered by the kind of violence no one expected. What should have been a simple custody exchange became the breaking point. That Saturday morning, at the Park Plaza Apartments on North Park Plaza Court, Ariona arrived to drop off her 2-year-old son so he could spend time with his father, something she had done many times before. But this visit was different. For reasons still unknown to the public, tension sparked between Ariona and Huddleston that morning. Whatever they caused the argument that morning is something that we will never know. But one thing is certain, that argument led to a twisted turn. As the argument escalated, Huddleston went live on Facebook, and there he could be seen pacing through the apartment, holding a gun, and telling viewers that this would be the last time anyone would hear from him. He asked someone to come and get his son, apologizing over and over, while hinting at the violence that came.
She did. Police right there. Somebody come get my son first. This not finna end well for nobody, cuz. Yeah, so I've been dealing with a lot, but trying to... Ain't nothing finna justify my actions, bro. I've been dealing with a lot. I just need to get my son. Sorry, y'all. I'm just ready to die, bro. Just ready to get this shit over with. I'm already shooting at the police. Everything, bro. It's over with. It's over with. It's over with. That's a whole body right there, bro.
Just moments earlier, the unthinkable happened. In a sudden and tragic outburst, Huddleston shot Ariona outside the building. Her screams drew the attention of neighbors and bystanders, including 31-year-old Michael Anderson and another man who rushed forward to help. However, the most shocking revelation was yet to come. Instead of stopping, Huddleston opened fire again, killing Anderson and leaving the other man wounded with a bullet in the leg. By the time police arrived around 10:09 that morning, the scene was chaotic. But what investigators discovered next would change everything. Officers found themselves under fire as Huddleston aimed from the second-floor balcony, striking a police K-9 squad car. Miraculously, no officers were injured, and they held their ground without returning fire. Inside the apartment, the couple's young child sat trapped in the middle of the violence, unaware of the full horror playing out around him. As the situation escalated, tactical teams surrounded the building.
He's holding a gun in his right hand. He's on the second-floor balcony. He's going to be on the south side of the building.
Yet the truth was even more horrifying than anyone imagined. Before officers could move in, Huddleston made his final, irreversible choice. He turned the gun on himself, ending his life just steps from his son. It was a shocking twist that left everyone stunned. But the tragedy that unfolded inside the Park Plaza Apartments did not end when the gunfire stopped. In many ways, that was only the beginning. As the sound of shots echoed away and sirens grew louder, the neighborhood stood frozen in disbelief. Police quickly secured the scene, moving carefully under the threat of more shots.
Neighbors who had rushed to help were now ushered back, and the reality of what happened began to settle in. Officers found Michael Anderson, the bystander who had tried to help Ariona, lying fatally wounded. Another man, shot in the leg, was rushed to the hospital with injuries that would change his life, but thankfully not claim it. These were not random victims. They were people caught in the blast of violence stemming from a private dispute that had spiraled out of control. But what investigators discovered next would change everything. Inside the apartment, they found the couple's 2-year-old son, safe but terrified, caught in the middle of a scene no child should ever witness. Just steps away was the lifeless body of his father, Larvell Huddleston, the man responsible for the carnage. His decision to end his own life meant there would never be an interrogation, never a confession, and perhaps never a complete answer to the question of why. The truth, however, was even more horrifying than anyone imagined. Huddleston had live-streamed parts of the incident on Facebook, speaking directly to the camera as events unfolded. In that video, he paced the apartment with a gun in hand, apologizing, calling for someone to come get his son, and hinting at his plan to take his own life. He spoke about the battles inside his mind, paranoia, PTSD, and the weight of problems he said were too heavy to carry. To anyone watching, it was clear he believed this was his final act. That live stream left a chilling record of his final moments. Viewers saw the despair, the instability, and the decisions that turned deadly. They heard him say he was sorry. They saw him flash the outfit he wanted to be buried in. They heard his prayers for forgiveness, and they heard him insist that this was not just about jealousy or anger. To him, it was something bigger, something broken inside that no one around him had been able to fix. Meanwhile, officers worked to comfort the small child who had lost both parents in a matter of minutes. He was carried out of the apartment and placed into the arms of family members who rushed to the scene. Cameras captured the heartbreaking moment as the boy was taken into safety, his innocence spared, but his life changed forever. The nightmare ended, but its ripples were only just beginning. In the days after the tragedy, everything changed for Ariona's family. The house felt emptier. Her smile, her laughter, her hugs, they were all gone. What remained was heartbreak, questions, and the haunting reality that Egypt would grow up without the woman who loved him most.
And I was always there to protect her every day, you know what I'm saying? Any questions, any schoolyard bullies, we went to school together. We 7 to 8 years apart, so I was always the one she came to when anything came up.
To hit home, like the way he's hitting home, it's diabolical. You know, it's really diabolical, and we are hurting so bad.
Funeral services for Ariona Nicole Reed were held on February 19th, 2022 at Kraus Funeral Home. Friends, family, classmates, and community members gathered to honor a life lost too soon. They spoke of her radiance, her fierce determination, and her unwavering love for her son. Her dreams of becoming a nurse, her creative spark, her warm spirit, they were all remembered in tearful tributes that tried, however inadequately, to capture the fullness of who she was. And the tragedy did not end with her. The loss of Michael Anderson, the bystander who had selflessly run to help, was mourned just as deeply. He was remembered as a man of courage, someone who saw danger and didn't hesitate to act. He paid for that bravery with his life, becoming a quiet hero in the middle of an unthinkable storm. But the impact of that day stretched far beyond the walls of Park Plaza Apartments. For the Reed family, it became a fight not only to grieve, but to rebuild. They launched a GoFundMe campaign to secure Egypt's future, determined to shield him from more suffering and to preserve the love Ariona had poured into every day of his life. What she couldn't finish, they promised to carry forward. For the Brown Deer community and for those who watched this story unfold across the country, it was a painful reminder of what happens when red flags go unaddressed. It forced difficult conversations around domestic violence, untreated mental illness, and the gaps in systems meant to protect the vulnerable. Conversations that came far too late for Ariona, but which might still spare someone else.
If you need help, just say something. And I get it's not always the easiest thing to say or easiest thing to do.
And as the shock faded into memory, one truth remained clear. February 5th, 2022 did not simply mark the end of 3 lives. It was the day a family was shattered, a community wounded, and a little boy's world changed forever. Because in the end, this story was never just about the crime. It was about everything that came before it and everything left behind. What do you think about it? Let us know what you think in the comments below. And if you found this story intriguing, please like, share, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this.